Good afternoon. This is Pamela Bluewater for J&S Biblical Productions at the home of a former prostitute who used to live in Jericho. She made a remarkable transformation from a corrupt pagan culture to heroine in God's plan to destroy the evil city of Jericho. This is one of the principal centers of idol worship in the land of Canaan, now Israel. Welcome, Rahab.
Thank you.
Rahab, we have heard of the destruction of the city of Jericho as part of God's plan to rid Canaan of idol worship. Did you have any idea that you would be chosen by the Lord as an instrument in his overall plan, as you used to live the life of a harlot?
No, not really. I was an ordinary woman who lived in Jericho, a walled city in Canaan that was impregnable from any normal army. I had no idea until something happened that gave me a clue as to what God had planned.
What was that?
The Israelite spies who stayed at my house told me the story of how they crossed the Red Sea to escape from Egypt, as God parted the sea to let them cross. I learned enough to reach the correct conclusion, which probably saved me. I told them I knew that the Lord your God is God in heaven above and the earth below.
Well, that's impressive. That must be why you have the name Rahab, because it means she knows. When did all this start?
The spies came into my house in Jericho to check out the country for being inhabited by Israelites. They only stayed for 3 days because the king of Jericho found out about them. I had to hide them on the roof of my house under some straw. I told the king's men that they had left so they would chase after them. Meanwhile, they were hiding on my roof.
That was very brave. Then what?
The spies told me Joshua's plan to conquer Canaan. Since they were very grateful that I had saved their lives, they would spare my life and the lives of my family. I let them down from my roof by a scarlet cord. It was one of the walls of the city, and they promised my family would be saved if I didn't tell anyone what they were doing.
That was very daring. Then what happened?
Well, the Lord's plan came to pass. Jericho was destroyed and every living thing in it. Men, women, and children, cattle, sheep, and donkeys.
I see, but how did Joshua's army destroy a walled-in, impregnable city?
It was actually God that destroyed the city. He told Joshua to march his soldiers and priests who were carrying the Ark of the Covenant around the city for 7 days, blowing trumpets. On the 7th day after circling the city, they gave a mighty shout. The walls of Jericho collapsed, and they rushed in, captured the city, and everything in it was destroyed with the sword.
So you could say that you were part of God's plan?
Yep, my past as a prostitute was forgotten. After the destruction of Jericho, my family and I were taken to a place outside the camp. God spared us. I was later adopted by the Israelites, and I still live with them to this day. The Lord was with Joshua, and his fame spread throughout the land.
Thank you, Rahab. Yours is a miraculous story, and it's an illustration of Proverbs 13:30, which says, "Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised." This is Pamela Bluewater with Mary Beth Violet from the Church of the Open Window to make some comments on the story of Rahab and why this is important to remember today. Mary Beth, what would you say to summarize the importance of the story of Rahab?
Well, I feel the main point here is that Rahab's faith enabled her to turn away from her depraved pagan culture, her people, and their religion of worshiping the moon goddess Astaroth, to really commit to the real Lord. A commitment to a true faith in God may necessitate setting priorities that are contrary to those in the world we see around us, as illustrated by our government and run by conflicting politicians.
It's an excellent point, and she is an inspiration.
Yes, we find Rahab an inspiring story for all sinners who've been saved by grace. The amazing grace of God saves the worst of sinners and brings them to an abundant life. From harlot to heroine, Rahab is an inspiration for every woman who can leave behind their sordid past and move forward and proclaim God is God.
You said it, there is hope for all sinners. This is Pamela Bluewater for J&S Biblical Productions saying, the word to remember is redemption, possible by accepting the existence of God. Good afternoon.